over the weekend, we saw UFC Vegas 12, and quite possibly, at least in according to Dana White, it is Anderson Silva's last fight in the UFC. We'll see if he does some Anderson Silva stuff, some janky fights over there in Brazil. Maybe he goes to Bellator for one off. I don't know, but I really hope it was the last one personally. But Blake, welcome back. Let's talk some UFC, shall we? Between UFC Vegas 12, Khabib not actually being retired, and a little preview at UFC Vegas 13. You down for that?
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. But real quick, before you get into things, just on Monday night, it will be released Friday. I had an interview with the guitar hero Justin James, and I swear his story is something straight out of a movie. He debuted in the UFC in June 20th on the Blades and Volkov card, where he would beat his opponent Mike Camacho in 41 seconds, and he wasn't even on the UFC roster the Tuesday before the fight. You guys are going to need to hear this one. Once again, we'll be on Friday. Super amazing person, and you're not going to want to miss that. Okay, there we go, Blake. Let's get into things now. UFC Vegas 12. On the prelims, we had Alexander Hernandez versus Chris Gruetzemacher. And if we remember a couple years ago, he was a highly touted prospect back in 2019 until he got his stuff kicked in by the Cowboy Cerrone, really put him in his place. But with his TKO over Chris, is he back?
He's definitely on a hot streak now. I think it's still going to be interesting to see where he goes from here, just because, his last big fight was against Cerrone, and he kind of, didn't really show up too well in that fight. So I'd like to see him fight another step up in competition again and see, where's he at mentally, and see, has he kind of climbed that hill, so to say.
Mm-hmm. So you think you give him someone close to the top 15?
Yeah, I guess so.
Are
You could do
outside
15.
top 15?
You could do, yeah. I think you could do 15 or just outside. Give him someone that's like, going to challenge him for sure everywhere. Not just challenge his skills, but challenge his cardio. I want to see him go past the first round if possible.
That's right. I mean, with the lightweight, no, maybe. Donald Sterling's top 15. Oh, no, but Drew Dober wouldn't be that bad of a thing if you want to test him. Just saying that one out there, Sean Shelby.
It'd be a tough fight.
It would be a real tough fight. Real one. But, hey, we got to see. And then also, later on on the main card, we had Greg Hardy gain a TKO over Maurice Green in the second round. And Blake, so one thing that Justin and I discussed, one thing that he was really adamant about, he's training with guys like Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy's been over at Extreme Couture Gym, where Justin trains, and he's beating him in wrestling. And we were talking about this, and he thinks that Greg Hardy is the UFC is essentially padding his record right now. And do you think that's true? Because the only guy he's really fought is Volkov, where he got his stuff kicked in.
I don't necessarily think they're padding his record. I think it just kind of comes down to matchups, and so far he's had favorable matchups, I'd say. They could go out there and give him someone that'll just take him down to the ground and punish him, Mm-hmm. But why would they do that with someone that they think could be a draw potentially, someone that they know is going to get traction around the internet, on social media? He's a polarizing figure. Why would they just go out there and feed him to sharks? There was a reason that he was given Volkov, because they knew that Volkov probably isn't going to take him down and lay on him and, do like an Alexei Olenek type of an approach. But I think it's more, I don't know. I guess you could kind of say they're padding his record, but I don't think it's necessarily fair, because it is the UFC. There's not really too many easy fights anywhere.
That's fair. I could say I do agree with Justin that they're padding it, but also at the same time, I kind of understand why, because here's a big, well-known name in the NFL world. Does not hurt to bring some fans, some possibly bring NFL fans over to UFC. And honestly, at the end of the day, we all know UFC is about making money. Dana White's all about the dollar bills. And Greg Hardy doing well is probably going to be good financially. whether because he's a guy that a lot of people tune in to just to see him lose as well, because there's a lot of hate towards him. A lot of it's justified, but that's besides the point. So I think the UFC just sees money with him, and I don't blame them for trying to just boost his record a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I mean he is pretty new to the sport. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were talking about it before we started.
First fight
Maybe
back
two
in
years,
2019
two or 3 years. Yeah, exactly. So
was in July 19 against an awful Juan Adams. He sucks.
right. I mean the early fights, those are literally his first fights, you know. So I mean I do understand he's not getting the elite of the competition, but I also think that the UFC is doing the right thing and kind of developing
Mm-hmm.
who they see as, I guess, talented.
Yeah, I agree with that. Then the co-main was, of course, number 15 ranked Bryce Mitchell, where he would dominate Touchy Feely on the ground. I mean, the stand-up was even. It was Feely actually pretty much won the stand-up, and that's why he won the second round. But Bryce Mitchell was able to land a career record of 7 takedowns, and he dominated the wrestling, dominated in the clinch. And I thought that this was a phenomenal showcase by Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, he definitely surprised me. I didn't think that it was going to be that easy to kind of keep Feely down like he
Mm-hmm.
did. I thought Feely was going to be, because usually Feely's one of the taller featherweights, you know, so it's a little tougher for some of the guys to take him down. Like I specifically remember Dennis Bermudez, that fight that he had against Andre Feely, and he had a really tough time taking Feely down because Feely's legs are just so long, and he could just always have at least 3 points of contact, you know,
Mm-hmm.
touching the floor at all times and get up very easily. So Bryce Mitchell being able to keep him down. And the one thing I would have liked to see more from Bryce Mitchell, though, is some more ground and pound. I think he needs to work on that a little bit more. But he did a fantastic job for the most part. First round was all him, I'd say.
Yes.
Second round, Feely was looking sharp on the feet, but you could tell he started to gas out. That pace started to add up, specifically with Feely. And I mean, man, he had him rocked though. If you remember that flying knee, even
Yeah,
Bryce,
that was a good
even
one. That was
even
a
Bryce,
good one.
he admitted after the fight, he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I remember I got hit with something. Was it a flying knee?" And man, it was just so hard to watch that fight, and someone had to lose, you know, because
Right.
they're both they're awesome dudes, fun. They're fan favorites. I think both of them are, and it was an entertaining fight to say the least. We had
100%.
some cuts, we had some bruises, so you
And
can't
then
really beat that.
best of all, you had the debut. I mean, we were talking about this, hyping this up on our last UFC talk last week,
Mm,
previewing this, and those camo shorts did look very nice. I
man,
They did a
he's
good
a
job.
he's a trailblazer, you know.
Hey, it's some Arkansas boys. That's what I need. I was saying on Twitter, a lot of people agreed that we need, as soon as fans are back in the stadium, let's go to Little Rock. Let's go to Arkansas State, put a UFC event headlined by Bryce Mitchell in that basketball arena over there at Arkansas State. Because, sweet damn, that would sell out in
Dude,
a
that would
couple
be
minutes.
crazy. That would be an experience right there. I'd like
Wouldn't
to
that
see
be
that.
fun? Wouldn't that
I'd
be
like to
fun?
see that.
And
Have
he,
Bisping commentate.
oh my gosh. And then even better on top of that, the perfect guy. Well, depending on how long it takes, Bryce Mitchell, broken hand, and all that, we'll see. But a really good fight for I think him to go into next. Put him against a guy like Dan Ige. I think that'd be a phenomenal matchup. Of
Well, I
course.
mean, we were looking at the top probably
Hmm.
like 10 to numbers 10 to 15 in the rankings.
Yep.
Because if you're Bryce Mitchell, it's like, okay, you just fended off the guy that has always been itching, has always been scratching, down on the top 15 in Andre Feely. You just fended him off, right? You solidified your place. You actually stepped up I'm looking at
Move up
UFC.com right
one.
now.
Yeah,
You
he's
actually moved up
14
to number
now.
14. So if I'm Bryce, I'm like, all right, cool. I solidified myself in where I stand in these rankings. Now I'm looking up. And so we were talking about this beforehand. We got Ryan Hall, Shane Burgos, Dan Ige, and Sadiq Yusuf,
Hmm.
numbers 13 to 10, respectively. And I think, yes, out of those matchups, for me, I'd want to see him fight either Dan Ige or Shane Burgos. And it just depends on availability, I think, and those guys' willingness to test themselves against Bryce. Because I mean, Bryce, I forget who was saying it over the weekend. I think it might have been John Anik, but he is for sure on everyone's radar now. Like
Yes.
there's no, you can't pretend to not notice him anymore. You can't say like, oh, he hasn't fought anyone now. It's like, no, he's beat some legit dudes now. So you got to start giving him some respect,
You gotta
and
respect him. And on
and
the
he
other
deserves a
side,
fight.
though, yeah, 100%. On the other side, though, if you are a touchy feely, you gotta be worried that you don't just turn into some sort of gatekeeper kind of role, which is unfortunately it seems like that's what he's turning into. He's always been at the cusp of 15. I mean, he's most recently lost to guys like Bryce Mitchell, Sadiq Youssef up there at 10. So he's close, but not quite there. So it's getting a little worrying because he's kind of getting on his career. We'll see what he can really do with that. And of
Hey,
course,
he's still young. He barely turned what, 30, 31.
he's getting close. We'll
He's
see.
he's very, very young.
That's
I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be in that 15. At 145, man, it's unforgiving. It's
mm-hmm.
all about matchups, and it's whoever shows up on that certain night. I mean, dude, he has fought Max Holloway for just one person to name
Right.
out of like all the people that he's fought
Wait.
already. I mean, he's
Mm-hmm.
fought Calvin Qatar, and took him to a decision. I mean, he's fought Yair Rodriguez. He's
He
fought
fought
some
some good dudes,
studs,
man.
dude.
He
So I mean,
he
it's
has not
like,
had an easy fight.
yeah. So I don't know. It's tough to see. Like I said, it was tough to see one of those dudes lose because I mean, both of them deserve to be in the top 15 in my
Yeah.
opinion. But it's just what I'm trying to say. Long story short, is this is a shark-filled division. 145,
Yeah.
155, I think, are both shark-filled
145,
divisions.
155,
135 too,
170.
probably.
Easily the best divisions in the UFC, I would say. But I mean, if we want to talk about age, one guy that is certainly up there, 45-year-old Anderson Silva had his last fight, at least in the UFC,
Mm.
over the weekend. He looked really good in the first 2 rounds. But then he got rocked. He got knocked down. Nearly finished in third. Then Uriah Hall came back and finished him in the fourth. And damn, Uriah Hall, he's almost a title contender.
See, I think you're so wild for saying that. He finished Anderson Silva. That's 45 years old and
Oh,
way past his prime.
It's still Anderson Silva.
I know it's still Anderson Silva, but it's like, dude, it's he's not a legit title contender for finishing Anderson
He's
Silva.
getting well with the people he's been. I mean, he's only fought dogs too, and like his knockouts are
Dude, he
just
got beat by Kelvin Gastelum,
okay. You say it like it's a bad thing. He's
who's like a 170 pounder if he cuts weight correctly.
oh,
I'm not saying Kelvin Gastelum isn't world class, but I'm just saying, dude, like Uriah, I almost called him Faber. Uriah Hall. I mean, I just don't. I don't buy. I don't buy him being a title contender until he would have to fight someone that's next level. I mean,
mm,
no disrespect to Anderson Silva. If this was 5-6 years ago,
mm-hmm.
and he got this result, then yes, absolutely, sign me up. But let's not pretend that this is anything close to what Anderson Silva used to be. I
So
mean, that
where
was
do we
kind
go
of hard
next
to
for
watch.
Uriah Hall then? Where do we go next with him? What's his next matchup? If he wants to prove it to himself that he's going to be this next title contender, who's he fight?
Man, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Yoel Romero, dude.
Mm.
You want to say that you're a title contender?
Fight Yoel?
Beat Yoel Romero's ass. I mean, because that's another guy that's like super athletic, hard hitter. But it just kind of sucks because last time we saw Yoel Romero fight a striker, he
Did
stood there.
nothing. I mean,
So, because I mean, everyone that's kind of above him, Cannonier's out for a while.
yeah, I would have
Isn't
loved that fight between him and Cannonier though.
isn't Costa? Didn't Costa? Isn't he fighting Weidman or someone?
Pollock, I don't know what they're doing with that one.
I forget what happened. Maybe Derek Brunson.
Brunson,
Brunson would be a solid fight. Have they fought already?
they did fight, and he lost to Derek Brunson, so that'd be a rematch. He
That'd be
lost to,
that'd be a rematch right there. That'd be a good one.
I believe it was 2016. Yeah, he lost in 2016 to Derek Brunson.
Brunson wouldn't want that though. But I
No.
mean, yeah, Hall. He's currently sitting number 9 here in the rankings on UFC.com. He definitely. I mean, he's probably not going to fight Gaslam. I think they're homies now.
It's hard because I mean Hermanson is
For me, it'd have to be Romero or Brunson.
Your Romero is probably the best.
Romero, I
Romero.
think he would have the most to gain,
Mm-hmm.
but it would be the toughest fight, you know?
I
Because if you beat Romero, even if you just point him out, like
Hey,
you can get some
Uriah Hall's a
respect on.
gamer though. He's a fighter. I think he would take that fight too.
That would be a good. That would be a good call out. Honestly, you get a lot of respect for that.
call out him. Okay, that. Hey, Uriah Hall, Yoel Romero, Sean Shelby, App Blake. Just hire us, man. Just one card. We just want. Hell, I don't even want one. Just give us a prelim. Just give us a prelim to book. Come on, man.
Just no limits. Any fighters have McGregor fighting on the prelims. He wouldn't accept.
Was this 2010? Jeez, when was the last time? I really want to see that set. When was the last time Conor McGregor was not on the main card?
It was probably his first fight in the UFC. It was probably the last time he was on the prelims.
Maybe.
Guarantee it.
Maybe. Next, if we want to talk about Conor, let's talk about the lightweights, Blake. Because after this, there's a whole bunch of news announced after this UFC 12, Vegas 12 card with Dana White in his presser. One of the things he said that he doesn't believe Khabib is actually going to be retired and that the belt is not vacated yet. So, and Dana White has already said he does not want an interim belt for this division. And then since the Poirier versus McGregor 2 fight is already all but official, do we make that fight for the number 1 contender spot? Is that the move?
I think you have to. I mean, that's probably the only reason that Khabib would stay. I mean, who else is he gonna fight?
GSP.
Tony Ferguson. GSP is not gonna drop to 155 though.
No.
We've already talked
they
about
do
that.
cash away 165 like we were talking about. 160.
So I mean, there's really like who else would be deserving besides Tony Ferguson?
No one.
No one. So they're probably offering him a crap ton of money. And he gets to beat up McGregor again if he can make it happen. So, and that's a real rivalry right there. Those guys have some bad blood.
I think
everyone would love to see it. Isn't that the record? They broke the record, didn't they?
Yeah, they broke the record. That was a UFC 226, 227 back in.
I can't remember the exact number.
Last November, it was record breaking.
Was that 2019?
2018.
I thought it was 2018, right?
It was 2018.
Yeah, because last November was Poirier.
Oh, 2 Novembers ago.
Or September or something. It was like
a while 2 Novembers ago. What the hell, bro? This is...
Dude.
Hey, time flies.
Time's flying, bro.
But, so, do we make this for number 1? That would sell huge. We're expecting this to be in January. Obviously, it's going to be headlining card because Conor McGregor, belt or no belt, they'll probably main event over someone with the title, but anyway. They'll put a title fight in the co-main, just have Conor in the main. And this, Dustin Poirier could get his shot again, but if you're UFC, you kind of want McGregor to win this again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's like we were just talking about, the biggest pay-per-view ever between McGregor and Khabib. If you can get that rematch anyway, man, that would just be huge. That would just be huge.
I should just promote, if Conor wins this fight against Poirier, Conor is fighting for a belt, which is huge. It's Conor McGregor, too, which is huge. Then it's Khabib, who is trying to go for 30-0 against 2 people that despise each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's too easy. And the UFC already does amazing. Their marketing team is fantastic. Like all their fight in card promos, amazing. So imagine what they could do with this.
It's going to be good. I mean, the first buildup was already perfect, with the whole throwing of the dollies and
through the bus.
Where's Noah and just all this crap that McGregor was taking shots during the press conferences. I would be really interested to see that fight get ran back. I mean, I hope that McGregor somehow could find a way. I mean, he lasted till round 4. That's pretty impressive. Gaethje found a way out in 2 rounds.
And Conor did when or against Conor, Khabib lost the first round of his career.
So, is that facts? Did we see the
at least in the UFC? At least in the UFC, he lost that. He lost a round. I think it's the second round he lost.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
That's the only fight though, really, that I could see Khabib having. I mean, besides the Ferguson fight, but since that Gaethje domination, I think everyone kind of lost the fire for that matchup.
That's fair. All in all, hey, Conor McGregor makes money. That's end of story right there. So, Blake, let's get rolling on into our UFC Vegas 13 kind of preview for this. And the first fight I want to talk about is going to be opening up the main card. That's Claudia Gadelha against um, Yan Chaoan, Chinese. That's the one. But I mean, talking Claudia, she had a huge win over Angela Hill back in May, albeit some people thought a little controversial, thought it should have gone Angela Hill's way. I am not a part of that crowd, so I'm okay with Claudia, and she got a lot of fanfare from that. But I mean, Jan on the other hand, she's 12-1, and she also did beat Angela Hill back in June of 2019. So, and she's a big up and comer.
That's because she fights everybody. Angela Hill is a savage.
She's a beast. And
that's why she's a commentator now. She makes money.
Oh, dude, man, hey, UFC fighters and commentating. There's some really good ones right there. What do you think about this one though? A lot on the line for both fighters, really.
I don't really know enough about Jan. I mean, who are some of her last opponents? She beat Carolina by decision in February.
Mm-hmm.
She beat Angela Hall in June of 2019, and I think that's all she's got in the UFC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's going to be interesting. And the thing is she's got an inch of height, which doesn't really mean too much. 60. So Claudia Gadelha has a half-inch reach advantage on Jan. They're both the same age. It's going to be, I think, I'm just not a huge Gadelha fan right now. I just think that
really?
I just don't think she has so many close fights now. And I don't see that dog in her that you'd see in like a Joanna or who was the girl that just beat Chikagian, Andrade.
Oh yeah.
I just don't, and even Angela Hill, like you can tell. And so I know like when the going gets rough, like they're gonna get going. They're not gonna stand there and take it. And even Michelle Watterson against Angela Hill, that she really impressed me too. Even though I felt Angela Hill got that dub too. I don't know. I'm not really I'm not impressed by Claudia anymore. I think her best years are behind her. She got so close to the belt before and failed. I really don't know if she has that. I don't know if she has it in her anymore.
So according to you, it's not going to be the fun Saturday night for her this weekend.
I don't think so, man. Do we know if she trains? Does Jan train with the champ?
With Zhang Weili?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. Very, very possibly. But let's move on into this student. Next one, though. A guy that I've been very excited about, and I'm super pumped that he's getting the next fight. Brendan Allen. And he has a chance to make an even bigger name for himself. He's on the 7-fight win streak overall, 3 of the UFC. He had one Dana White's Contender series. And then he's this really good, cool guy that's been proving himself. 2020 has been a solid year for him, especially in the UFC Vegas cards. Where do you see this fight going?
Oh, I have to correct myself. That Yan Xiaonan has had 5 fights in the UFC. She's undefeated, 5-0.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time that loss has been for years.
Yeah, well, her first loss was back in 2010, and it was by submission, rear naked choke.
Now she's 12-1, hella good. Honestly, the Chinese fighters, like especially Zhang Weili, their women are some scary fighters. They're brutal. They really are. They do not give a damn. But Brendan Allen, dude, what do you think about this guy? I know you're a fan of his.
Yeah, he's a contender series veteran. Earned a contract from to the UFC through that, which is always pretty impressive. High pressure environment. Usually got to get a remarkable finish to get a contract. And I think he's been undefeated, right, since he's come over to the UFC.
Yeah, he's all 3 of his UFC fights. So he had the Dana White Contender Series, and then he's now had 3 fights in the UFC proper, and his
last fight was really impressive. I remember he was fighting that guy with the crazy name. What was his dang name? Let me look it up right now.
Well, he was man. And then he was having some beef, but Brendan Allen, big old. I mean, 15-3,
Daukus.
really good. Kyle Dawkins. Not the Chris Dawkins is the guy you have to watch out for in the heavyweight division, who's gonna be making some noise soon. But Kyle Dawkins, man, I mean, and also he put the first loss onto Kyle's record too. Now he's sitting at
Yeah.
9-1. And
Yeah, I just remember how like physically imposing Daukus looked before that fight, and I was like, man, Brendan Allen might have a tough little time with this guy, but he really put it on him. I remember he had that guy busted up really good,
mm-hmm.
and then got a knockout against Brees, and also a submission against Kevin Holland. I mean, that's probably the most impressive one on there to me. Is like he was able to make pretty decently quick work of Kevin Holland, who's a trash talker, gets into your head, a rangy, lanky guy.
Yeah, and that was when they were
Real
already hating
impressive.
each other. For he was pissed off at Kevin Holland for missing weight. They had that little fight in the hotel lobby.
I don't remember all that.
Yeah, it was fun stuff right there. But I think Brendan Allen gets it done against Ian this weekend, and he's just going, fourth straight fight, fourth straight win in the UFC. It's going to
So
be.
do you know what the beef is centered on? I never really got the full scoop on that.
Don't know what.
I just heard them mention it on the broadcast
I
over
know
the
they
weekend.
don't like each other, but I don't know that maybe they bully each other as children. I don't know.
I mean, just looking at the tail of the tape, Brendan Allen is 6'2", 75-inch reach, and Ian is at 5'9", 72-inch reach. So Brendan Allen has a pretty decent
He's
height
pretty
advantage,
sizable for middleweight too.
5-inch height advantage, and a 3-inch reach advantage for Brendan Allen.
6'2" at middleweight is not bad at all.
He's pretty good size. Pretty good size. What's Adesanya? 6'3"?
6'3"?
Maybe.
Yeah, he's a little taller, but he's lanky.
But Brendan Allen's a good size for sure for the middleweight division. I think. Yeah, I agree
really
though. I think he's gonna get it done.
Guy, though. He's gonna make some statements, man. But in that co-main, we got a nice heavyweight matchup between Andrei Arlovsky and of course Tanner Boser, another guy that's really been making a name for himself over this past summer. And I am really excited. The Canadian dude, and he already has two big time TKOs over the last couple of months. Of course, Arlovsky's coming up with his last win. He had one fight this year, beat his teammate Philip Lins, and man, I think Boser has a legitimate chance against Andre this weekend.
Yeah, I could see it. Andre's kind of at the twilight of his career. I think one real good punch could probably knock him out. He's definitely shown an improved chin though in his last few fights, so he's definitely not as easy of a fight as I think people were starting to think he was. But man, another ex-champion, 2 weeks in a row, we get to see some ex-champions fight.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty confident with seeing Brees. Would you call it an upset or?
Which would a Boser win would not be an upset, I don't think.
Boser, excuse me.
Yeah, I really like him. The stuff he's been doing, he's looked damn good. Honestly, personally, I'm more of a fan of Chris Dawkins. I think he's a little better fighter, but I really like what I've seen out of Boser. Also, the mullet is really can't miss stuff.
Right.
The mullet makes you want to root for. It just makes him look like a total badass. But I like Boser. Andre's a really good fighter still. He's no pushover, but he's you said Twilight. He's closer to that whole gatekeeper kind of thing. Boser wins this. He's getting very close to the top 15. I think he gets it done. But the biggest fight, of course, is going to be the main event. This is a fight that's been pushed back twice now with either guy testing positive. We've been waiting months for this. And the only problem is now, since we're waiting so long, Blake, we heard the news about Izzy and Jan. That's going to be the next fight at the 205 division. So this fight kind of takes a hit in importance overall between Thiago Santos and Glover Teixeira. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I think it does. Because, I mean, we already know the next fight for the champ for Jan. It's going to be Izzy. Like, there's no doubt about that. It's confirmed. I think he already has a date, right? So that's got to be a little official. That's got to be a little deflating for them. But, I mean, at the same still have that claim for the number one overall, I think, contender. afterwards. I mean, I would think,
Hmm.
but it's just weird because that the only thing that would scare me if I was them is, man, if Izzy wins, that just opens up a whole nother can of worms, and then
And
you're
then it's gonna
just
be John Jones next, and then they're just kind of screwed for a little bit, right?
contender one to being maybe two, three, four. Because if John Jones comes back, Izzy wins, Jan number two because he just lost. There's still Dom Reyes in there
Hmm.
somewhere. I mean, it just gets so muddied up if Izzy comes in there and wins and wants to face Jones.
Let's talk about the fight itself, though, because Thiago Santos, he has not been in the UFC Octagon in, I believe, 560 days. Of course, double knee surgery after pushing John Jones to his limits in that 5 round fight where he looked very, very good. A lot of people argued that if it wasn't for the knee injuries, he could have won that fight. It was a split decision, mind you. And then Glover is coming off of an absolute mugging. Ugh. Ugh. Poor Anthony Smith, man. Anthony Smith looked great in the first 2 rounds, and then Glover was literally punching teeth, and then they're in the corner with Glover on top of him, and Glover was just apologizing. That was that was a tough fight.
That's just the UFC though, dude.
Hey, that's MMA. So, what do you think about this one? Who has the edge coming into this fight, and who do you think walks out being able to boast that they should be the next contender for that 205-pound belt?
I think anyone's guess is as good as mine on this one, really. Teixeira, I he's hot right now. He had a killer performance against Anthony Lionheart Smith. Thiago Santos, he's coming back from injury, and I mean his leg was torn up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean he had pretty much anything wrong with your knee that could go wrong.
Right.
It seemed like after hearing
Thought Josh Emmett was bad.
yeah, I mean it was crazy. So it's going to be interesting to see how he comes back from all that. But I mean Santos, if he's back to full form, that's a scary man. That's a guy that has a sledgehammer tattooed on his chest, and like his freaking nickname is like, isn't it like machete or some crazy? It's like
I
I
think
don't
it's
remember what
something in
his.
Brazilian.
It's something
Or sorry, in
crazy that
Portuguese.
means
In Portuguese.
it means something ridiculous is all I know. So he's like a killer in my eyes. I wouldn't want to fight him. That's for damn sure. I wouldn't want to fight any UFC fighter though.
This is
Uh,
gonna be a tough fight. I think it does go the distance. I really do
you
think
think
it
it's gonna go
does.
the
I
distance?
think
I
it
don't
goes
think
the
so.
distance. Oh,
I think someone's getting finished.
but
It's a 5 round fight. It's gonna. I think someone's gonna get finished for sure.
who's getting
These
finished,
big
Blake?
boys.
You got to pick a name. It's the name of the game with the show, especially. We
Well, I
don't
mean,
just we pick.
like I said, it's like a toss up for me. I think if I had to pick, and you're holding a gun to my head,
Damn right.
I'd probably have to go. I'd probably have to go to Shara, just
Mm.
because I think I don't know.
I mean,
He's just been in
560 days out of the octagon is no joke. Teixeira
right.
has had he's been fighting. He's been having good fights though. But I mean, if we're
I
going
mean, he
to,
looks sharp though too. Is
he's
the
been
thing. It's not like he's a. It's not just he's active and he's had one good performance. It's like no, this guy's been at the top for a
Mhm,
very long time. He's a legitimate light heavyweight,
mhm.
whereas Thiago Santos is he's kind of been here and there in terms of middleweight, light heavyweight.
Mhm.
So I'm interested to see what Thiago Santos looks like coming back from injury. I think that's the main component in this fight. But Glover is so freaking good. Even if Thiago Santos
He's such a
was
veteran,
fully
man.
healthy,
He's such a
I'd
veteran.
still I'd still feel really good about Glover's chances because he's legitimate for
I
sure.
I love the Glover pick, but at the same time, I kind of want to lean Thiago Santos because it's going to be a factor. Taking 560 days off the octagon is a huge factor. You cannot deny that. But he also was the one that pushed one of the greatest fighters of all time to his limits and edged out a split decision against him. If he's anything like that fighter, Glover is going to be in for one hell of a fight. And I really do think that Thiago has what it takes to be able to pull out a win on Saturday. But honestly, for whoever wins, I'm not going to be surprised. Straight up, I've been waiting for this fight for a while, dude. I'm super excited for this one.
Yeah, no, I can't wait either.
Yep.
It's gonna be a really good one. Should be much. I think it's gonna be a much better card this weekend than last weekend for sure.
I mean, the last card was pretty top heavy. Like the really the last 3 fights were the only one that mattered. But there's
And the last 3 fights were probably arguably the kind of the worst almost besides Feely and
Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Hey, I don't know, I am super excited for this. But that's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. Let us know what you think, all your thoughts about UFC Vegas 12. What do you think is that Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier fight going to be for the #1 contender? And give us your picks for UFC Vegas 13. You can do this by following us on Twitter at 4th Long Radio, at Instagram at 4th and Long Radio, or you can go over to the best way to do this is, of course, go to our iTunes page, Apple Podcast page, rate us 5 stars, and let us know all that you think of what's happening in the MMA world. But like I said at the beginning of the show, Justin Jane's big-time interview, Guitar Hero, will be out on Friday. And then also, Blake, you may have noticed, especially if you're watching the video version of this podcast, I am rocking the brand new 4th and Long hoodie, okay? Looking very nice, looking pretty sexy, And Blake, I do say I make it look good.
What what did you just say?
I said I look good, Blake, okay?
No, what did you say before that? You need to wash your mouth out with soap.
Oh, come on.
You're a psychopath.
What's up with that disrespect, bro? Come on, man.
Now you look alright.
Hype your homie up a little bit. I know my hair.
I don't want to get your head too big, man.
Hey, I already got a big head. It's okay. You got to. But of course, you can find this on our shop. Just go to our website, www.the4thandlong.com. Click on apparel, and then you can follow that link right there on that page. Take yourself a bunch of nice t-shirts, long sleeves, crew necks, hoodies like this, and just have yourself one hell of a time. But like I said, thank you all very much for watching till the end. Follow us everywhere. Blake, it was always a pleasure with you, our very own UFC correspondent. Thank you for your highly educated input.
No problem, bro. Reigning champ right here.
Reigning champ is of the Suck My Pick title. Correspondent Blake.
I'm never gonna say the actual title. But I am the reigning champ right now.
You're the reigning champ.
I am the champion.
We'll put the respect on that. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy watching UFC Vegas 13, and we will catch you guys in our interview with Justin Janes.